So good morning, everyone. Welcome back to my performance testing and engineering live training, real-time training, and welcome to my YouTube channel. So in the previous session, I covered software development lifecycle and testing lifecycle, wherein I explained these different types of testing, like starting with unit testing, integration testing, functional testing, and performance testing. And I explained performance testing at a very high level, right? So in this session, we are going to discuss we are going to revisit this performance testing, and I'm going to explain a bit detail about what is performance testing all about. Okay. So I give an introduction to performance testing lifecycle as well. Testing. Shall we have some quick assessment on the previous day concepts, guys? Karnakar, what is integration testing?
Yeah, integration testing also one type of testing. That is actually the software modules. Modules are integrated logically that define tested as that is a group.
Right. So what is white box testing, Mallikarjun? Mallikarjun, what is white box testing? Mohan?
White box testing is the same like user acceptance testing. It will be done by the total modules. It will be done checked by a developer, not by testers.
Okay. So what is black box testing, Dilip? So basically, unit, before going to the next question, so unit testing, which is done by developers, is called as white box testing. Dilip, what is black box testing, Dilip?
Testing the UI of an application is called black box testing. Here, developers cannot be tested here. Only testers will be work.
Okay. So why is it called black box testing?
Why it is called black box testing means it is it's called black.
We're checking the functionalities.
Yes, sir. Functionalities. System testing into performance testing, ad hoc testing, exploratory testing. These types of testing we can done here in black box testing.
Yeah. So why is it called black box testing? Why is it so called?
Right. So
Shweta? Shweta joined from today only. Vijay?
Black box testing means testing the functionalities without checking the code and backend part.
Right. Yeah. So testers, functional testers need not know or does not know what the internals of the code.
The
right?
knowledge of yes.
Yeah. So that's why it is called as black box testing. So, and yesterday I introduced about performance testing, right? And I explained this, what is non-functional testing. So performance testing is also called non-functional testing, and it is used to determine an application's speed, stability, scalability, and reliability. So when I say speed, so I mean to say response time of the pages, response time of the application, right? So how much time a page is taking to load. So that is speed of the application. Clear case. Say for example, suppose I type apple.com, suppose I type gmail.com. right? So it is taking some time to load this page. Okay, let me do one thing. Let me open something called developer tools, right? And I'm doing control refresh or refresh the page. 1 second. So here you can see. So in developer tools, you can see here, right? It shows like 1.41 seconds at the bottom, guys. Let me otherwise annotate. So I'm referring to this part, guys. Okay. No. Let me keep this annotation. Here you can see at the bottom. See guys, there are 31 requests that went to the server. So observe here. 1 second, please. So there are a total of 31 requests that went to the server. And here you can see the time has finished time as 1.41 seconds, right? 1.5 second, almost 1.5 second. Here guys. So this page took like 1.5 second, almost 1.5 second to load completely. Clear? Now, so that is the speed of this page. Or for example, if you visit some page like apple.com. One second, please. Let me open a developer tools first. Can you please open developer tools on your machine, everyone? Please open a browser and open developer tools. Function F12 is the shortcut case. F12 key is the shortcut for launching this developer tools. Or else you can use Control Shift I. Okay. Control Shift I, here you can see. Control Shift I is the shortcut for developer tools. Or you can use F12 on your keyboard. Both will launch developer tools. Right? This the right side window that you are seeing. This is called as developer tools. And what is the purpose of this developer tool? So suppose you can see, you can check the response time of the page, and you can see you will get a lot of other information also. I will explain that in the coming up sessions. Suppose you type apple.com, right? So here you can see it took some 1 second to load this page. Clear? 853 milliseconds to be precise. Okay, what is this? Finished. And 1 second. Let me clear this everything. It's taking 1 second to load this page, isn't it? So here you can see 800 milliseconds is the finish time. Clear guys? So this is the speed of this page. When I say speed, like this is the speed of the page. Clear these triangles first. Yeah. And stability. So the next term is stability. So stability means how stable is the application under expected load and unexpected load. So that is stability. And how the next one is scalability. Scalability means how many users does the application support, or how scalable is the application. So that is scalability. And what is reliability? Reliability means how reliable is the application once the application goes into production. So non-functional performance testing is a non-functional testing to determine an application's speed, stability, scalability, and reliability. So I have all these definitions in the next slide. So here you can go through. So these are the 4 major factors for doing performance testing: speed, stability, scalability, and reliability. I explained over here each of those in detail. Clear, guys? So let's discuss one more time. Let's revisit this. So speed is to check if the application responds quick enough for intended users, So response time should be less, right? The response time of the page. You understood, right? What is meant by response time of the page?
Yes.
Right? The time taken to load a page, a particular page, that is the response time of that page. And stability means to check how stable the application is under expected and unexpected user loads. Application performance should not degrade even after using very long time, right? So this is about checking the stability of the application. And scalability means, can the application handle unexpected user load, and how does it behave beyond its capacity, right? I mean, I mentioned in the previous slide, right? How scalable is the application means, what is the max load that the application can support, right? And how can the application handle unexpected user load, and how does it behave beyond its capacity, right? And this shows application's ability to handle increasing user load without performance degradation, without degrading in the performance. Like how, scalability tells about the application's ability to handle increasing user load. When the application has more than expected load, means unexpected user load, how does the application behave? That is scalability. And reliability means, how reliable is the application, and will users have positive experience on go live? Go live means once the application goes into production, how reliable the application will be. So that is reliability. There, guys, these are the 4 major factors for doing performance testing. Right? We'll discuss this
One
performance.
question here.
Yeah.
So if the user's system configuration is not good, like it's a lesser than the required, are not good, then how will we calculate the response time?
What is that, Mohan? Can you please come again?
Okay, Vijay here.
Vijay.
So if in case the user's configuration, the user's device's configuration is low, so in
Okay.
that case, how will we calculate the response time?
You mean to say users, if the user system configuration is less?
Yes. I mean, I understand. I got the point of response time. I got the point. What if in case the machines, the devices configuration is low, and it will definitely the response time would be slow, right?
That is user specific issue. That is not an application issue, right?
Okay.
So that is a user specific issue.
So can do we have anything to do with that issue?
No, we will not have anything for that. So if user device configuration is less, we will not be bothered. So then the user knows that his system configuration is less. That's why response times are high, right?
Okay. Okay.
So it doesn't impact the application reputation, or it doesn't impact the application in any way.
Okay.
Isn't it? Because user will be aware of that
Yes.
his configuration is less, his system configuration is less. That's the reason he's saying high response time.
Okay. 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 Got it. Thank you.
So I like
here. This in stability and scalability, you mentioned that we are going to check the applications and unexpected user loads. The same point we have discussed in scalability also. So what is the major difference? I can't get it. That's what I'm asking. In scalability also, we are checking the application unexpected user loads. In stability also, we are checking expected and unexpected user loads. That is.
No, there are different types of testing here. There we will discuss. So these are not the actual different types of tests.
Okay.
These are not different types of performance testing. So these are the different types of testing. Yeah, someone is saying something.
Yeah, but how exactly those scalability and stability makes difference, sir, as per your definition?
Okay. So stability means, I mentioned one more point here. So application performance should not degrade even after very long time, after using very long time.
The load. So can you just try to give a different abbreviation for scalability?
Okay. So scalability means like what is the maximum load that it can support, right? So here we check, we will be majorly focusing on what is the maximum load that the application can handle in scalability. So stability means we will consider the duration, like even though we are using the application for a very long time. So how does the performance, how will be the application performance?
Maybe timeout time.
Not exact, not timeout, not timeout. It's not timeout. Timeout has a different meaning.
Okay.
Maybe
You
stability,
see,
we can
yeah.
we can do the test for design load, no, sir.
Just to check the stability of the application.
What does it
Yes, we
mean?
will discuss this. We'll see, these are not different types of tests. Let me tell you something. These are not different types of tests. Actually, these are the different types of tests. Then we will learn, we will discuss like what is stress testing, what is spike testing. So scalability testing, we will revisit this. These are not different types of tests. These are some reasons, important reasons why do we do performance testing. Okay. And here when you say scalability, so we will look into the application behavior beyond its capacity. Say for example, an application has some target user load or expected user load. Yesterday I gave some examples. So IRCTC will have like 5 lakh users per day, right? So if there are more number of users than that, that is the normal user load of for IRCTC application, right? So if there are more number of users who are using the application, so how much can the application sustain? How much user load can the application sustain? And can the application handle that unexpected user load? That is scalability. So how scalable is the application? So this speaks about how scalable is the application. Okay. And how does the application behave when the user load is increased beyond its capacity? How does the application behave? So this is scalability. So these are not different types of tests actually. These are some important reasons to do performance testing. Okay. So actually, like the questions you are asking about, so you can, we will discuss those in these when we discuss different types of performance testing. All right.
Sure, sir. Okay.
And yeah, so and we will discuss this performance metrics in the coming up sessions. So, however, like let me give a quick overview. So what is meant by performance metrics? Performance metrics means what do we measure when we do performance testing? What do we measure? Or what are the important metrics that we need to consider, right? So those can be broadly classified into two types: client-side metrics and server-side metrics. Performance metrics can be broadly classified into two types, that is client-side metrics and server-side metrics. So what comes under client-side metrics is response time, transaction response time, hits per second, throughput, disk IOPS. Right? I'll explain each of these in detail in the coming up sessions. So however, like response time I already explained. So transaction response time is nothing but. So first let's understand what is meant by transaction. So any user action which involves sending some request to the server is called as a transaction. Let me explain with an example, right? Suppose you type some URL of the application, right? So apple.com. So you type some URL, apple.com. So this is one transaction, user transaction, right? Any user action which involves sending some request to the server is called as a transaction. Or else let me take one more example. You type amazon.in. This is one transaction. Clear? User sent a request to this Amazon homepage. So this is one transaction. Okay. So and transaction response time means how much time, what is the or how much time it took to get the response from the server. That is transaction response time. Clear, guys? And hits per second. So let me explain this also. So what is first? Let's understand what is meant by a hit. So just now I have shown you in the developer tools, right? So when I type amazon.in, this is a request, HTTP request to the server that is sent from the browser, right? So when I type amazon.in and hit enter, I am sending a HTTP request to the server. So however, when we send this request, how many requests, I have shown you how many requests which actually went to the server, isn't it? Let me clear this. And then I'm doing a refresh of the page. So here you can see there are total of around 250 plus requests to the server, right? Yes or no?
Yes, yes.
Here you can see this is the main HTTP request. And however, there are a total, so these are all rest all requests are called sub requests. The remaining all requests are called as sub requests. So there are a total of 265 plus requests, 265 requests here that went to the server actually. So these are called as hits to the server, right? And in this hits per second, this is what hits means. Understood, guys? The total number of requests that went to the server, that is called as hits. And per second, how many requests went to the server, that is called as hits per second. Clear? And throughput here means, bytes, the amount of data transferred, right, over the network for this request is called as throughput. Okay.
It's like a bandwidth.
No, not bandwidth, not bandwidth. So total amount of sent, byte sent plus byte received, that is throughput here actually.
Okay.
From the client perspective, right?
Yeah.
And disk IOPS means input output operations. How many input output operations are there on the disk, right? So these are client side metrics. And coming to server side metrics, the first and foremost important server side metric is CPU utilization. So when I say CPU utilization, how much time? So this is the actual metric that we measure in server side metrics, percent processor time. Yes, to someone who is from non-computers background, this will be completely new. We'll discuss these client side metrics and server side metrics, right, later on. So however, please remember that there are some performance metrics that we will monitor when we do performance testing, and they can be broadly classified into client side metrics and server side metrics. We will discuss this once the scripting part is over. We will discuss this again, right? As there are few of the guys are from non-computers background, that will be a bit confusing to them. So let me move on to the next one. So move on to the next slide. So in this slide, I covered like what are the goals of doing performance testing for an already existing system and for a newly built application. Very important interview question. Why do we do performance testing for an already existing application and for a newly built application? Or else interviewer can ask like, what is the purpose of doing performance testing, or what are the goals of performance testing? So I broadly classified into two types. That is, for an already existing system, what is the goal of performance testing for an already existing application and for a newly built application. So let me explain this in detail with examples. The first one is whenever some new feature is added or whenever some new functionality is added to the application, then we do performance testing, right? So yesterday I gave some example for this also. Okay. So I gave some, can someone recollect what is that example that I gave for adding a new feature?
The IRCTC confirm probability.
Right.
Amazon, you have added some functions are added. You told that yesterday.
Redbus.
Yeah, Redbus. Sorry, not Amazon Redbus.
Yeah. So I gave some examples of these IRCTC and Redbus. Correct. So in Redbus, there was a new feature introduced as called change travel date. Right? That was introduced last year.
Yeah.
Right. So whenever such new feature is introduced into an application, even though it is an already existing system, already existing application, so we have to do performance testing in such cases. For IRCTC, a new feature was introduced like 2 years back called confirmation probability, isn't it? So whenever such new feature is introduced into an application, so we have to do performance testing, even though it is an already existing application, right? And increasing number of users are adding new users. Whenever some new users are start using the application, or whenever there is increase in the number of users, then also we have to do performance testing. So let me give some example to this. So in what cases users will increase? So to explain that, let me give some example. So most of you may be knowing that in 2018 or 19, so some 5 associate SBI banks got merged into State Bank of India. One second. So we are discussing this one. Let me give an example for this. Increasing number of users are adding new users, right? So if you, most of you may be aware of that. So like couple of years back or 2 years back, I think. So State Bank of Hyderabad, SBH, State Bank of Mysore.
Merged.
Yes.
Merged.
State Bank of Bikaner and Jaipur, SPBJ, and State Bank of Travancore. So some associate banks are merged into SBI, right? So previously we used to have a separate URL for State Bank of Hyderabad, right? Online sbh.com or something. But let me take one more better example. So Kotak Mahindra Bank acquired ING Vysya Bank, right? Yes or no, guys?
Yes.
ING Vysya Bank. So before acquisition, so ING Vysya Bank obviously used to have a different website, their own website, some ingvysyabank.com, right? I'm not sure about the URL, but let's take that, this is the ingvysyabank.com, sorry. Right? So let's assume that there are some 2 lakh users for this ingvysyabank.com, right? And let's assume that Kotak Mahindra Bank URL is kotak.com. Let's assume that Kotak Mahindra Bank has some 8 lakh users across India, right? So now after this acquisition, so before acquisition, ING Vysya Bank users used to use this URL, right? And Kotak Mahindra Bank has some 8 lakh users who are using net banking application with this URL, right? Now post acquisition, after acquisition, these 2 lakh users of ING Vysya Bank also will start using this Kotak.com website, right? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Right? So there is increase in number of users, right? So this 2 lakh users, 8 lakh users plus 2 lakh users of ING Vysya Bank also start using this Kotak.com, isn't it? Right? Now Kotak Mahindra has to do performance testing for their application to verify whether their application supports these additional users, new users or not, isn't it? Right? So this is an example like for this use case, right? Increasing number of users are adding new users. Clear guys? Even though Kotak.com is existing in production, already in production, or it is an already existing application. So whenever there is some increase in number of users or adding new users, we have to do performance testing. Clear guys? Right? The next scenario is when we do performance testing for an already existing application is whenever there is a database upgrade or OS migration on the servers, right? Whenever there is a software upgrade like database upgradation or OS migration on the servers. So then also we have to do performance testing, even though the application is already in production. And whenever there is a hardware upgrade on the servers, when I say servers, web app, DB servers, these are the typical servers in an application, web app and database servers, web application, right? And database server. We'll discuss what is the purpose of web server, what is the purpose of app server, application server, and what is database server in detail in the coming up sessions. Right? So whenever there is a hardware upgrade on the servers also, we have to do performance testing. Clear guys? Or whenever there is a software upgrade also. For example, let's assume that an application, HDFCbank.com, let's say for an example purpose, right? So let's say HDFC Bank is using Oracle 12 or 13. Now they want to upgrade to the latest version of Oracle. Right? So whenever they want to upgrade to the latest version, so they will not do directly in production. They will first do in the test environment. They will upgrade first in the test environment, do performance testing, and then only they will, once they confirm that the performance is good, then only they will do it in production. Clear guys? We already discussed yesterday that performance testing will be done in an environment called test environment, or what is the other name that we discussed yesterday?
Engineering.
Right. So engineering environment. So suppose any application, any organization want to do so a software upgrade, like upgrade the database or upgrade the operating system. For example, now we have Windows 11, right? After Windows 10, Microsoft has released Windows 11, isn't it? So if the servers are using Windows operating system, of course, most of the servers use Linux operating system only. Most of the servers use Linux. So if let's assume that there are some applications who are using Windows 10, right? So whenever if they want to migrate, operating system migration means they want to upgrade the operating system from a lower version to higher version. That is OS migration, whatever I mentioned here is. Right. So whenever there is some operating system upgrade or a software upgrade, for example, like database or operating system, first they will verify it in test environment. They will do performance testing in the test environment, and then once they confirm that there is improvement in performance, right, then they will upgrade in the production environment. Clear, guys? Any queries here, guys? Whenever there is a software upgrade or whenever there is a hardware upgrade, we have to do performance testing, even though application is already in production. And how about for a newly built application? Right? Let's assume that an application is newly built. And why do we do performance for a newly built application? Right? The first important, first and foremost reason is to assess readiness of production environment. Means how ready is the application? How good is the application to go into production? To assess that, we do performance testing for a newly built application. And to determine capacity of the existing system. Capacity, when I say capacity, how much user load can it support, right? So while response times are within the SLAs, okay, while response times are within the SLAs. Let me explain this, what is meant by this response time SLA. So let's say, for example, for any application, you will have some response time SLAs. Means I'm just giving some example numbers. So my home page should be loaded within 1 second. So client will define this like the home page of their application should load within 1 second, and our login should take, login should be completed in 2 seconds. These are called as response time SLAs. Or whenever user generates an account statement or a report, right? Account statement or a report. So it should not take more than 5 seconds. These are called as response time SLAs. Every page will have a different SLA. Clear, guys? SLA stands for service level agreement. So the first and foremost reason for doing performance testing for a newly built application is how good is the application to go into production, and what is the capacity of the application, means how many users an application can support, right? So when I say how many users can an application support, response times also should be within the SLAs, right? And creating benchmarks for the future systems, that is the next reason. So when I say benchmark, so benchmark is the initial performance of an application. Benchmark is the initial, let's assume there is a newly built application, right? So how is the performance of the application? How is the initial performance of the application? That is called as benchmark. We'll discuss what is benchmark and what is baseline and all in the coming up sessions. So for now, remember that these are the important reasons for doing performance testing for a newly built application. Okay. And the next reason is the next important factor or important goal for doing performance testing is compare multiple platforms. When I say multiple platforms, so as I mentioned just now, like most of the servers will be using Linux as their operating system, right? And again, in Linux, we have different flavors of Linux. We have Red Hat Enterprise Linux, we have CentOS. There are different flavors of Linux. So if the client wants to compare multiple platforms, means they want to compare how the application performance will be on Red Hat Enterprise Linux and CentOS, right? or else how the application performance will be on Windows operating system and Linux operating system. So to compare such multiple platforms also, we do performance testing and compare performance characteristics with different system configurations. I'll explain this system configurations later on. So you need to know a couple of things. I'll explain that later. So however, to compare performance characteristics with different system configurations. Okay, or else let me explain this. So when I say system configuration, how much is the CPU or how much is the RAM on the server? So that is system configuration, right? This is hardware configuration, of course. This is hardware configuration. Apart from that, there will be software configuration also. So to compare the performance of the application with different system configurations also, we do performance testing, right? And to validate any application against its performance criteria. So when I say performance criteria, all this comes into picture. How are the, okay, so let me explain this. There can be different performance criteria for an application. So first one is response time SLAs. Second one is transactions TPS. We call that as TPS, transactions per second an application can handle. Transactions per second an application can handle. This is TPS. This can be one of the performance criteria. So to see like how many transactions per second an application can handle, this can be one of the important performance criteria, guys. So in that way, there will be different performance criteria for different applications. So to validate any application against the performance criteria also, we do this performance testing. Okay. The next important reason for doing performance testing is uncover what components of an application suffer poor performance and under what conditions. Right? So what components of an application? So components means general meaning of components is parts, right? Part of anything is called as a component, right?
Yes.
Right. So when I say components of an application, we just now discussed there are different types of web app and DB servers, right? So an application may be typically built of different components like this. So these are the different components of an application. I'll explain this when we come to this slide. So as we came across that term, let me explain at a high level. So these are the different components of an application. So any typical web application or a mobile application will have a web server, application server, and a database server. Right? Any typical application will have web server, application server, database server, and something called load balancer. These are the different components of an application. And now to uncover means to find out what components of an application suffer poor performance. When does they give poor performance and under what conditions? Right? So to determine that also we do performance testing and find out any performance bottlenecks. Bottlenecks means performance issues. Right? So many a times like we see like page can't be displayed or you see like page response times are high or sometimes the page breaks, right? So we'll run into some errors on the application whenever we see. If you remember IRCTC old days, 5 years back, more than 5 years back. So whenever we try to book an application on IRCTC, right, particularly during Tatkal time, there is no guarantee that we can complete the ticket booking. Right? It used to fail like at least payment page or booking the ticket or some or other page it used to fail during Tatkal booking. That is, of course, IRCTC performance is very good nowadays. Right? So before like 5 years or so, like we used to run into some performance issues, and application used to fail at some payment page or when we are trying to book a ticket or select enter the passenger details, isn't it? So still like we have some applications like let me give one more example. So Heritage Supermarket has some website. Okay. However, in like before pandemic, it used to work well, but after pandemic, during pandemic time, it is breaking because previously there used to be very less number of users for this Heritage website. Right? Let me show you that place. Yeah, so still it is not working. I just thought of checking whether it is working now. So here you can see we are improving some features for you. Till then, please try your mobile devices. So this website, this particular website used to work well before pandemic, before this COVID time. But after pandemic, post pandemic, what's happening? Because there used to be less number of users for Heritage Fresh, this particular website. However, because of the pandemic, as there are more number of users, this application is not working, right? This web application, particular web application is not working. I'm seeing this error message from around a couple of months. Okay, so there are some, because the application is not able to support the current user load. And so this is called as a performance bottleneck. There are some performance issues of the application. So to find out any performance bottlenecks for the application, we do performance testing for a newly built application, right? And to support system tuning, system or application. When I say system, both are same, system and application, both are same. Now let's understand what is meant by system tuning or application tuning, right? Suppose let's assume that we did performance testing for some 10,000 users for an application, and we find out some performance issues, performance bottlenecks, right? So we will, as a performance test engineer, so we will give some recommendations to the client, saying that these are the performance issues identified. To fix these issues, like you have to make these changes, right? So, and then what does the client does is the client will get the those changes done by the developers or DBA, right? Means they will try to tune the performance of the application, and again they will come for retesting. So to support that system tuning, so for what is the purpose of retesting? To confirm that the changes, whatever changes that are made, are giving better performance or not, right? For that they come for retesting. Now again we will do testing on, we will repeat the testing, performance testing on the application to confirm if there is any improvement in performance or not, right? So let me give some example for this. Suppose you have a vehicle and a two-wheeler or four-wheeler, and you are not getting a better mileage on that, isn't it? So that means there is some issue in the with the vehicle engine. Yes or no, guys? Right? So you go to the mechanic and you tell that like my vehicle is not giving better mileage, good mileage, right? So then he fixes something. So he tunes the engine, or he cleans the spark plug, he tunes the engine, and he services the vehicle, and later on you will check the mileage again, right? Once you get your vehicle back, you will check the mileage, whether there is any improvement in the performance or not, in the mileage or not, right? So what are you actually checking there? So you are checking like if the mechanic has done a good job or not, right? Is the application, is your engine performance is good or tuned well or not, isn't it? So in the same way, for any application also, like whenever we found out some performance issues, right? So we will provide some recommendations as a performance engineer. We have to provide some recommendations, and development team will try to tune the application to implementing those recommendations, or they will use their experience in tuning the performance and come for performance testing again to confirm if there is any improvement in performance or not after the tuning, right? So that is called as system tuning. To support system tuning, we also do performance testing. Here, guys, I'll stop it here. Any queries? Let me pass something. Yeah, thanks for watching, and like, share, subscribe to my YouTube channel. And have a nice day.